Green flag's in the air. It's time to hit it and get it for the Collision 1 Limited Stocks here at Virginia Motor Speedway. Corey Bradley with a big run as they go off into turn number 2. Corey Bradley to the point. Brandon Bower to second with Chad Champion right there behind him in third as they go off into turn number 3. Field comes rolling off of turn number 4. Corey Bradley's going to lead lap number 1 with Brandon Bower in suit right there in second as they go off into turn number 2. James Gibbons applying all kinds of pressure to the back of the OA to Chad Champion. Chris Champion right there in the mix as they go down the back sheet into turn number 3. Gibbons right there in the 4th spot as they roll through turn number 4. As everybody currently following Corey Bradley as they go off into turn number 1. Here comes James Gibbons now with a big run to the inside of Chad Champion. Gibbons on the bottom of Champion. They're side by side down the back straightaway for third. As they go into 3, it's going to be Champion is going to edge out Gibbons as they go off into turn number 4. Gibbons is going to fight back to the bottom. Gibbons is going to get the pass as Chad Champion is sideways but manages to hang on to it. Chad Champion got sideways but somehow hung on to it. Coming down the front straightaway as they go down into turn number 2, down the back straightaway. James Gibbons now has his sights set on Brandon Bower as they go down into turn number 4. As trouble, Justin Pullen sideways in the 9 but hangs on to it. As the field currently single file. Corey Bradley coming into tonight second in points, only 1 point back behind your points leader of James Gibbons coming into tonight. Corey Bradley's already got 1 win this season, and we got trouble in turn number 1. Justin Pullen in the 9, up in smoke. As Justin Pullen, we were stay green, as Justin Pullen is going to pull that number 9 down to the infield, and we stay green. We stay green. Brandon Bowler with a run coming off of 2. Brandon Bowler has his sights set now on Corey Bradley for the lead coming off into 3. Brandon Bowler. 2 car lengths separate Bowler and Bradley for the lead. Brandon Bowler has already got 1 win under his belt this season. As James Gibbons has got 2 wins under his belt already this season, who currently sits back in the 3rd spot. With Chad Champion 4th and Chris Champion rounding out your top 5. Brandon Bowler trying to keep right there with the 41 of Bradley, and they go off into turn number 4. Coming out of 4 now. Brandon Bowler trying to get a run coming across the stripe. Brandon Bowler riding in 2nd. Gibbons riding in 3rd. Brandon Bowler coming into tonight 6th in points, only 48 points back behind your points leader Corey Bradley, who is out front. As Corey Bradley out front, 10 laps complete so far of our 25-lap feature here in the Collision 1 Limited Stocks here at Virginia Motor Speedway. Everybody so far single file from first all the way back. As Corey Bradley getting into rhythm now as they come on, currently getting into rhythm. Brandon Bowler trying to follow the same line Bradley's taking to see if he can gain ground on Bradley. And they go off into turn number 2. Brandon Bowler trying to gain some ground. As meanwhile in the back we got for 4th Chad Champion. And Chris Champion running back there for the fourth spot, or for fourth. Across the stripe, lap third. We are halfway through 13 here of 25 laps the distance. Halfway for Corey Bradley. Corey Bradley looking for win number 2 on the season. As they go down into turn number 1, Brandon Bower is going to try to drive it in deep on the 41 of Corey Bradley as they go down to turn number 2. Meanwhile, for the 4th spot, Chris Champion now trying to reel in the 08 of Chad Champion for 4th. Go down to back straightaway and to turn number 3. Chris Champion's going to drive it in deep on Chad Champion into turn 4. Chad Champion's going to edge out Chris Champion as they come across the stripe. Chad Champion's going to maintain 4th. Chad Champion currently maintaining the 4th spot. Chris Champion right there. Chad Champion sideways a little bit, coming off a 2. And Chad Champion hangs on to it. Here comes Chris Champion looking to the inside of Chad Champion. They're going to be side by side off of 4. Chad Champion is going to edge out Chris Champion for the spot. Chad Champion is now going to edge him out. Chris Champion trying to drive it in deep as they come off of turn number 2. Meanwhile, back up front for the lead, it's still Corey Bradley out front with Brandon Bower right there in tow in second. Brandon Bower trying to work the middle line as they go off into turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Chad Champion under fire from Chris Champion as they roll through 2. Here comes Chris Champion now trying to reel in Chad Champion for the 4th spot. As Corey Bradley in control here tonight. Corey Bradley currently in control here this evening. Has got his car, looks like he's got his car dialed in here tonight. Can anybody catch the 41 of Corey Bradley with Brandon Bowler a couple car lengths back? Chris Champion looking to the bottom of Chad Champion coming out of 4. As they go side by, goes 1 car length separates Chad Champion and Chris Champion going off into turn number 1. Chris Champion trying to reel him in down the back straightaway. Five laps to go here at Virginia Motor Speedway. They're going to be side by side off of 4. It's going to be Chris Champion that's going to get the spot across the stripe. Chris Champion across the front nose of Chad Champion. They're going to be side by side off of 2. Chris Champion and Chad Champion are wheel to wheel down the back straightaway into turn number 3. Chad Champion working back to the bottom of Chris Champion off of 4. Chris Champion is going to edge out Chad Champion for the spot as they go down into turn number 1. As meanwhile, back to the lead, Corey Bradley has been on an absolute tear here tonight here at Virginia Motor Speedway. Corey Bradley has been dominating here tonight with Brandon Bowler right there in second. Brandon Bowler's been keeping up with Bradley here this evening. Come across the line, 2 laps to go for Corey Bradley. 2 more laps around as they work their way off of 4. Corey Bradley out front. Brandon Bowler second. James Gibbons third. Chris Champion 4th. Coming out of 4, white flag. 1 more circuit to go for Corey Bradley. Corey Bradley's already got 1 win under his belt so far this year. Currently coming into tonight's event. As they work their way out of turn number 4. Corey Bradley out of 4. Checker flag in the air. Corey Bradley, your winner tonight with Brandon Bowler second. James Gibbons comes home 3rd. Chris Champion 4th. And Chad Champion round out your top 5.